welcome back to Life After Neverland. I'm Karin, and I appreciate you joining me today. We're going to be talking about The Chosen, Season 2, Episode 4. I honestly was wondering, when is this episode going to appear? And magically it appeared this week. So I'm super excited to talk to you about it. Stay tuned because I do have a few questions for you in regards to this episode here at the tail end of my episode. But this was great. It touched my heartstrings, as The Chosen always does. Now, if you don't know what The Chosen is about and you just tuned in, please make sure you check out the Google App Store. You can watch The Chosen there, and it is free. It's completely fan funded, and that should tell you a lot when you start watching it and see this production is top notch. It's beautiful and it's amazing. So let me explain to you what happened in this episode. If you want to go watch it first, I think that'd be the greatest, because then you can interact with me. So let's talk about the episode. This one was very fascinating. It starts off with this little boy named Jesse. He's climbing a tree, falls off the tree, and unfortunately he becomes disabled and he's no longer able to walk. It gets even sadder because his mom has a baby and then she dies at birth. Now him and his brother, she had a little boy. Jesse's little brother's name is Simon, and they start to really connect with each other, and they build this tremendous bond, and it's very beautiful. And it almost seems as if the father, he doesn't really connect with these two boys. So the boys' bond is even tighter simply because they only have each other. And as the boys get older, you start to see that Simon, the younger brother, he is constantly trying to connect Jesse into his activities, even though Jesse can't walk. So if they're doing Ring Around the Rosie or something along those lines, he will find a way to get Jesse involved. He's very compassionate. And when you see how Jesse raises Simon, you see that, and Jesse's the older brother, just to remind you, he's very compassionate. He's rocking him and loving on him. As they get older and older, it appears as if Simon starts to become angry at how some people are being treated. You know, he's got that compassion part right. He doesn't like how people are being treated by, the bureaucracy and the Pharisees. He sees people who are considered less than in that way being literally kicked to the ground and beaten by them. So I believe he becomes somewhat of a assassin, and he ends up leaving Jesse, the older brother. And then Jesse, you see him as he's getting older, and he feels alone. He feels distraught. I mean, it's almost like he really just can't function without his brother. And he's near this fountain. They have this fountain, or they call it a pool, and the pool bubbles up at different times throughout the day or the week. And other people who are ill or disabled, they all rush and run to this water, which the water is supposed to be magical and it's supposed to heal people. And every time you see Jesse literally crawling on his hands, pulling himself to the fountain, he never ever gets there in enough time. And I guess it's like the first person that gets there is the one that gets healed. That's the word on the street. And for years and years, and you just see him getting older and older and older and constantly trying to get to this bubbly fountain and never making it. And I mean, how many of us have felt like that just in life? For me, that was a bit of a metaphor, where you're trying to get what you need in life, whether it's medicine, whether it's getting to the doctor, whether it's going up the work totem pole and never ever making it, and people are always getting there before you, and you feel kicked down and defeated constantly all the time. Kind of was the symbolism for me with Jesse. And Jesse still had hope. He had hope in this fountain. Keep that in the back of your mind. So then you go to Simon. And, Simon's been, working on his skill of becoming an assassin. And he has a mission, one in which I guess he's going to assassinate. This is a higher up. This is a Roman that he was going to assassinate. Assassinate. And it's pretty heavy because Simon also has someone following him, police officer type. And that's pretty intense. And then you have Jesus and his disciples, and they're getting ready for this tabernacle, I believe, similar to the Shabbat, or another name for the Shabbat. You guys can let me know in the comments section, because I don't know a lot about tabernacle. They're all celebrating Jesus and the disciples at this dinner. And part of the conversation is just basically equality, and that someday the enemies will be having dinner at the Shabbat along with the disciples. And then some of them were just talking about how could that even possibly be? And even nowadays, you see so much hate and so much anger and so much divide. And I too feel like, how could you even see that resolving itself? But Jesus was indicating that it could. It's just weird to think how parallel uh, history can be and how often it repeats itself. But one of the things that Jesus says is that everyone has wandered off into the wilderness or struggled through the wilderness at some point, which is really deep when you think about it, because I truly hate seeing this divide, because why are we divided? Well, we can't see eye to eye. And basically, we can't see that compassion. I think one of the themes of a lot of these episodes here with The Chosen is simply compassion. That's the going theme. How different would our lives be if we actually had compassion for each other? But if you watch this show and you watch how Jesus speaks to people, and I know that's how God wants us to be, maybe we could try. Baby steps, right? One can only hope, which is another part of this episode. Now, Jesus arrives at the healing fountain, but right before that, Jesse and Simon actually encounter each other after years and years and years of being separated and apart. And they don't see eye to eye. They see things very, very differently, especially in their philosophies about what God or the higher power would want them to do. But what's fascinating is that Jesus came for Jesse. What was beautiful about when Jesus came to see Jesse was that Jesse was saying that he was having a bad day because him and his brother ended on a very bad note, and he wanted to get to that fountain, and he still had hope that maybe he would get there after all these years and it would heal him. And what Jesus was saying to him is basically, why are you thinking about this fountain? Why is the fountain something you're hoping for to help you? Your focus should be on me. And that really gave me goosebumps. I mean, it seems so obvious. Yes, our focus should be on Jesus. He should be the one to help us. I think because we can't physically see Jesus, we lose sight of him being able to help us. But I have to know that God is listening to me and that he hears me. And the way he speaks to me is different than how obviously we speak to each other. And that's where it comes down to your personal relationship with God. And I think it's fun to try to develop that relationship. Throughout the years, I feel like my relationship with God has gotten even more fun and more exciting and more interesting. That's one of the things that I really love about this series is I feel like it can bring people together. And I'd love to know if you have a story where you needed God and he was there for you. You put your eye on him. I'd love to know in the comment section down below. Another thing that was interesting in this episode, we did see Shmuel again, and Shmuel was trying to tell people about false prophets, and of course Jesus is the one he's talking about. And the disciples tried to warn Jesus about Shmuel, and he really didn't care. In fact, he liked that challenge, the challenge of Shmuel spreading his name about. And even after he healed Jesse, he was empowered a little bit by the fact that Pharisees did see him do that. And you could tell those Pharisees were like not okay with what Jesus was doing, but Jesus was okay with kicking up some dust. So that's what I kind of wanted to ask you guys here at the end. What do you think Jesus was thinking about there at the end? The Pharisees were basically trying to take away what a beautiful moment that had happened there with Jesse. You know, they wanted to show their power over him, and they were really casting a shadow on that beautiful moment. It didn't even seem like they were amazed by what Jesus did. They felt like it was magic. I'm very interested to see where this is going. We actually saw people hanging on crosses in this episode, and Jesus actually walked past. You could tell that he was affected by it, but he was staying strong. He knows what his fate is, and already in the past episodes I can tell that he's been dealing with it, knowing what's going to happen to him, but he's staying strong for everyone else. So this is going to be really good, you guys. Oh, I really hope you watch The Chosen. It's such a beautiful series. I say it all the time, and I'll keep saying it. I think we all need The Chosen right now. I feel like it brings a lot of light and hope. So how can we show bits of compassion in our day? And that's what I want to ask you in closing. I think it could be something as simple as saying thank you, or opening the door for someone. Or maybe if you have the means, people that are being oppressed, find a way to bring some light into their life. You can break down people's walls literally by being compassionate. They might kick and they might scream and they might throw a fit, but if you don't give up on them, I feel strongly that you can break down some of those walls. We are meant to be together. That's so important, you guys, for us to stay together. We're stronger together. No more divide. We can learn so much from this series. All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. God bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you when episode 5 comes into fruition. Till next time, everyone. Much love.